Morning mist drifts slowly across the canals as the bells of the city begin to ring. Along the edge of the water stands a narrow Venetian house of pale stone. Wooden shutters open toward the canal, where small boats glide silently through the fog. Inside, on the upper floor, a single room has become a place of prayer for those of us who fled our lost home. Icons from Constantinople hang along the walls. The Mother of God gazes down from panels of gold leaf, darkened by candle smoke. Small oil lamps burn before the painted faces of saints. The scent of incense fills the room, frankincense and myrrh. The same fragrance that once drifted through the great churches of my childhood. My name is Anna Notaras, daughter of Loukas Notaras, Megas II of the Byzantine Empire. Whenever the incense burns, the memories return. Memories of another city, another spring, and the day the world I knew came to an end. Constantinople. When I was a child, Constantinople felt like the center of the world. I remember walking with my mother through the markets near the harbor. Merchants called out from their stalls, while the smell of spices and roasted lamb drifted through the crowded streets. Greek fishermen sold their morning catch beside Venetian traders unloading silk and wine. Somewhere nearby, a baker was always preparing honey cakes, their warm scent drifting through the air. The smell was rich with honey, cinnamon, and toasted sesame. Sweet enough that even as a child, I could find the bakery long before I could see it. Church bells rang through the city, while priests in black robes passed quietly through the crowds. And always above the city rose the great dome of Hagia Sophia, its vast shadow stretching across the streets below like a second sky. Inside, the cathedral glowed with golden mosaics that shimmered beneath hundreds of hanging lamps. Marble floors, polished by centuries of footsteps, reflected the flicker of candles like tiny stars. As a child, I believed nothing in the world could rival its beauty. Constantinople was not merely a city, it was the last capital of the Roman Empire. For more than 1,000 years, emperors had ruled from its palaces, and we believed they always would. My father, Loukas Notaras, was one of the most powerful men in the empire. He served as Megas II, commander of the imperial fleet, and one of the closest advisors to the emperor. Men stood nearer to the throne. Our home stood in the Blachernai district, near the imperial palace. From its upper windows, I could see the mighty Theodosian walls, stretching across the western horizon, like a stone mountain guarding the city. For centuries, those walls had protected Constantinople from every enemy. Persian kings, Arab caliphs, Bulgarian warlords, even crusaders from Western Europe. All had come, and all had failed. So we believed the walls were eternal. In the winter before the siege, my father spent long evenings speaking with the emperor's advisors. Passing quietly through the palace corridors, I sometimes overheard fragments of their conversations. they spoke often of the Ottoman ruler Mehmed II. Among the Turks, their rulers bore the title Sultan, a word that meant sovereign authority. Mehmed was barely 20 years old. Some dismissed him as reckless, but my father did not. One night, I heard him say to another noble, "Do not mistake youth for weakness. That young sultan has fixed his eyes upon our city." Until then, the thought had seemed impossible. But hearing those words filled me with a quiet dread I could not explain. Soon, another story began circulating through the court. A Hungarian engineer named Orban had once come to Constantinople, offering to build a cannon capable of destroying any wall in the world. But the empire was poor. The emperor could not afford his services, so Orban left. He soon found employment with the Ottoman Sultan. There, he built a monstrous bronze bombard, unlike anything the world had seen. The cannon was so large that men could stand inside its barrel. Teams of oxen and hundreds of laborers were required simply to drag it across the countryside. When word of this reached Constantinople, many dismissed it as exaggeration. After all, our walls had stood for 1,000 years. What weapon could truly change that? In the early days of April 1453, the answer came. First, there were rumors. Then, scouts reported movement in the countryside. Soon, the Ottoman army appeared before the city. From the towers, we watched their camps spread across the fields like a second city rising outside our walls. Thousands of tents covered the land. Red banners bearing the crescent of the Ottoman house fluttered in the wind. And slowly, dragged by teams of oxen, the great cannon was brought forward and positioned before the walls. Then it waited. And we waited. Knowing what it was meant to do, but not knowing when it would fire. The morning it came began quietly. Birds circled above the towers. Sunlight touched the ancient stones of the walls. For a brief moment, the city felt almost peaceful. Then the cannon fired. The sound tore across the land like the earth itself had split open. The ground shook beneath our feet. Windows rattled across the city. Dust fell from the ceilings of houses. And somewhere along the outer defences, a section of ancient stone collapsed with a thunderous crash. For the first time in centuries, the walls of Constantinople had been wounded. Yet life inside the city did not completely stop. Markets still opened. Bakers still filled the streets with the smell of warm bread. But the roar of the cannon returned again and again. Every few hours, the earth trembled. At night, the defenders labored along the damaged walls. Merchants, fishermen, monks, and craftsmen worked beside soldiers, carrying stones and baskets of earth. Torches burned along the ramparts, while exhausted men struggled to rebuild what the bombard had destroyed. The entire city had become a garrison. On the evening of May 28th, the cannon fire suddenly stopped. After weeks of constant thunder, the silence felt almost unnatural. Inside Hagia Sophia, what would become the final Orthodox service under the Byzantine emperors was held. Nobles, soldiers, monks, and citizens gathered beneath the immense dome. The emperor himself attended. Constantine XI Palaiologos stood among his people, wearing the purple robes of the Roman emperors. Gold thread shimmered across the fabric, and the long ceremonial scarf, known as the lauros, hung across his chest. Even after centuries, the ancient colour of empire still marked the ruler of Constantinople. Incense drifted upward toward the golden mosaics. Prayers echoed through the cathedral. Some wept quietly. Others stood in silence. Everyone understood what the coming morning might bring. Before dawn, the Ottoman assault began. Wave after wave of soldiers surged toward the shattered walls. Arrows darkened the sky. Cannons roared once more. The defenders fought desperately among the broken stones. The emperor himself entered the battle. According to those who survived, he removed his imperial insignia before fighting, so that he might stand beside his soldiers as one of them. When the Ottoman forces finally broke through, the emperor vanished in the chaos. His body was never clearly identified. With his death ended a line of rulers that stretched back through Byzantine history to the Roman emperors of antiquity. My father survived the battle, but was captured after the city fell. At first, it seemed the Sultan might spare him, but a few days later, Mehmed summoned him again. According to those who witnessed the meeting, the Sultan demanded that my father surrender my younger brother Isaac to the Ottoman court. My father refused. It is said that he declared he would rather see his child dead than dishonored. The Sultan's anger was immediate. Soon afterward, my father and my brothers were executed. With their deaths, the old world of Byzantium lost one of its greatest families. Yet the name of Notaras did not disappear. I was still alive. Years have passed since that terrible spring. When Constantinople fell, many of us fled across the sea. Venetian ships carried refugees westward through the Aegean and across the Adriatic. Venice received us cautiously at first. Yet the Republic had long traded with our empire, and many Venetians understood that the fall of Constantinople had changed the world. The Doge of Venice, Francesco Foscari, allowed many Greek families to settle within the city. Venice had once been the rival of Constantinople. Now it had become the refuge of its survivors. Merchants, scholars, priests, and craftsmen began new lives along the canals. In time, we formed a new community here. We brought our language, our books, our icons, and our faith. With what remained of my family's fortune, I helped support the printing of Greek books so that our language and traditions would not disappear. Even far from Constantinople, the memory of Byzantium would endure. Now I am an old woman. Sometimes, walking beside the canals of Venice, I hear young men speaking Greek in the streets. Many of them have never seen Constantinople, yet they carry its memory through the stories we tell. Perhaps one day, a great church will rise here for the Greeks of Venice, a place where the prayers of Constantinople will live again. I may never see it, but others will. And when they do, they will remember the city that gave us our faith, our language, and our history. Constantinople, the last capital of the Roman world, and the city that still lives in our memory. As Constantinople fell in 1453, many believed the world of Byzantium had come to an end. But history is rarely so simple. Across the sea, in cities like Venice, the survivors of the fallen empire carried something more powerful than armies or walls. They carried their knowledge. Greek scholars, nobles, merchants, and refugees brought with them ancient manuscripts, philosophy, science, and the intellectual heritage of the classical world. In Venice, their community would grow and flourish, eventually building the great Greek Orthodox Church of San Giorgio dei Greci, which still stands today as a reminder of Byzantium's enduring legacy. The ideas preserved by these refugees helped fuel the Renaissance that was transforming Europe. Empires may fall, cities may burn, but knowledge has a way of surviving, and sometimes it quietly changes the course of history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And join us next time as we explore another moment where the forces of history reshaped the world.